What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. And I want to say thank you to all my supporters, followers, subscribers for bearing with me. We had a packed, busy weekend of boxing. I believe I'm all caught up with this video. And I want to talk about David Lemieux. I'm going to give some post-fight, but I also want to talk about an update. And as far as the fight with David Lemieux, Hassan Nadam, best fight of the night of Saturday night. Just great action. I think Hassan Indam showed tremendous amount of heart and resolve. I mean, he was getting floored and he was in no man's land and somehow worked his way to losing a decision, which looked like it was inevitable that he was going to get stopped. So I give fighters like that a tremendous amount of heart. Even though he was getting leveled and hammered in there, he was still fighting back. And in spots, he was still doing good, like the 12th round. The 12th round, he won the 12th round. And he might have even hurt David Lemieux a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Looked like David Lemieux started to fatigue a bit. And there was a lot of good spots where you could tell Indom wasn't going easy. As far as David Lemieux, I really liked his performance. And it just shows you that he was able to do something a lot of fighters can't do, and that's resurrect their career after stoppage losses. You know what I mean? If you're on the lower side, like not an A side type of fighter, like Miguel Cotto was already established when he lost to Antonio Margarito, is what I'm trying to say. So he still had a built-in fan base. Felix Trinidad, when he got stopped, he was already established. So you're not going to just lose your following and your fan base overnight. But David Lemieux back then, when he got stopped by Rubio, he wasn't as big. I think he's bigger now, you know what I mean? So some people can't bounce back from trials and tribulations like that. So awesome fight. I enjoyed it. I did catch up on that. And I want to talk about some news as well. Now, Gennady Golovkin on his verified Twitter account put this: Golovkin versus Lemieux. Let's make it now, not in the future or down the road. And then he mentioned David Lemieux, HBO Boxing, Oscar De La Hoya. And I think this is a great idea. In fact, it's such a great idea that in my video where I was talking about for the remainder of the year fights that I would love to see, I posted that a little while ago. Make sure you check that video and I kind of go fight by fight and break down some great fights that I feel they should make in 2015 for the second half of the year. And definitely Triple G versus Lemieux was on there. And Oscar De La Hoya also said that he was basically on board with this particular fight. So I'm liking it all the way. I think it's a good fight. Carl Froch, and if I can remember, I talked to Eddie Hearn. Carl Froch doesn't know what he wants to do, basically. Like, we don't, it's all up in the air. And basically, from dealing and talking to Eddie Hearn, again, I'll try to put the footage at the end of this video if I can remember. It doesn't sound like he's sure if he wants to do. So I wouldn't bank on Carl Froch versus Triple G, even though that's a great fight. So I said in that video that Triple G versus Lemieux is a good fight. Lemieux now being a champion since he fought for a vacant title and convincingly beat Hassan Indam. So it'll be a unification. I also think that Tom Loeffler at K2 Promotions, they could even try to test Triple G's star power by making this a pay-per-view event. And in my opinion, it's not going to really get much better for Triple G. Like, Carl Froch would have probably been a more massive fight, a bigger fight, because Carl Froch is established, he's respected, he was a champion up until he got stripped recently, and it's a different fan base and different demographic being over in the UK, and you've seen the numbers he did with George Groves in the rematch at Wembley. So that would obviously probably be the biggest fight, barring like a Floyd Mayweather, but I really don't think Triple G and Mayweather will happen, or a Canelo Cotto. Those are obviously bigger fights. But if you can't get Froch, Mayweather, Cotto, Canelo, which it sounds like Cotto and Canelo are fighting each other, and I have some footage. Cotto was in attendance at the Oracle when I was covering the Ward Smith fight, and it basically sounded like that fight is a go. I'll try to find the footage so I can post. I just got a lot of stuff to post. But anyway, back to Triple G and Lemieux. That seems to be the best option. Two champions. Triple G doesn't have to go outside of his weight class and fight Ward and move up, or move up and fight Froch or anything. He doesn't have to go down and fight somebody. And the reason I say maybe try a pay-per-view is because they say Mexican style, and they're branding him, trying to build a star, and saying how he's selling out the Forum and StubHub, I think it was, with Marco Antonio Rubio. Do like Canelo's team did with the Angulo fight and the Laura fight, and test the waters to see how big of a star he really is, and that could just set up other mega fights maybe with a Canelo Cotto winner, maybe with Ward or whatever in the future. Just test it, see what type of numbers he produces. And again, to me, Lemieux, if it's not going to be one of the A-listers like Froch or Canelo Cotto or whoever, then Lemieux is about as good as it's going to get for a pay-per-view. Two guys with exciting styles, two current champions in the division, two guys who, you know what I mean, with power. And unless Triple G is going to fight a respected name or like a rival, if there's like a rivalry that had been built up or something like that, then this is the next best option, in my opinion. If you don't have like how Mayweather fought Oscar De La Hoya, a respected champion, or Oscar fought Chavez, if you don't have that type of contemporary or champion status, someone who's been a long-standing champion, good resume, or you don't have like a rival like Marquez and Pacquiao, then stylistically, this is the best opportunity that Triple G has to try to go into the pay-per-view market. At one point, it could have been Chavez Jr., but Chavez Jr. recently got stopped. Now that fight is probably out the window. No one really cares about that fight anymore. But I think they could have broke out into a pay-per-view if they had made the fight last year when they were supposed to. And then the negotiations fell through, I believe, on Chavez Jr.'s side, trying to get out a top-ranked contract. So I think Triple G and Lemieux is as good as it's going to get. Test the waters, see how a pay-per-view would do. It's an exciting fight. I definitely have Triple G winning. There's a variety of reasons. If they come close to making the fight, I'll probably make additional videos explaining why I feel Triple G wins. But it's a good fight because, again, anytime two guys have that type of power, you never know exactly what will happen. But from what I've seen of the two, I would definitely favor Triple G in that fight. However, like I said, anything can happen in this boxing, and it's still a good fight that I would pay to watch just to see if I am true or what I think comes true or not. So let me know what you guys think. Triple G versus Lemieux. I did like his performance versus Indom, and that's a different style, and I always like to see guys fight at the championship level versus different styles. So I know you can deal with a Gabe Rosado. You can deal with a Hassan Indom. So you have to just keep fighting the different styles to show me what you're really about. Make sure you like my video. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.
Carl Froch versus Triple G. I know you get this probably 10 times a day, every day. Any news on that?
No, I mean, I don't think there's a super middleweight that isn't calling Carl Froch out. You know, the poor guy's 38 years of age. He's at home with his feet up, and you know, all people want to do is get in the ring with him. But I don't know what he's going to do. I think Carl Froch is a fighter that is built on desire and hunger, and if he hasn't got that, he isn't the same fighter. And you know, he's luckily earned a lot of money, especially with his last fight at Wembley. He doesn't necessarily need to fight again, and I'm not sure he has the desire to fight again. He likes the Triple G fight. I think he still has a little bit of fire burning to try and avenge a loss to Andre Ward, but the future is unclear.